written as this type of equation where each one of those letters is going to do something specific, right? So we talk about vertical translations. Which way is vertical? This way or this way? Up and down. Okay, so vertical means we're moving up and down. And it says D, which is the letter out here on the end, right? That's the part that controls up and down, which we already knew. Right? If it's plus a number, a positive number, is it going to shift up or down? Up. And if it's minus a number, so a number less than 0, a negative number, it's going to shift it down. Okay. Then yesterday we learned about horizontal transformations. So if vertical is up and down, horizontal is left to right. So horizontal is controlled by what's inside this parenthesis. So the letter C is what tells me if I'm moving left or right. Now remember, whenever you take something out of the parenthesis, it changes its sign. So whatever we see in the parenthesis, remember it's opposite of what we think it would actually be. So it says x minus c in the parenthesis. So where is that going to move me? X minus c. To the right. Good. Opposite of where we think it would go. We would think minus means to the left, but it actually means to the right. And then x plus c means we're moving to the left. Good. All right, then lastly we have our stretch and compressions. So that's all controlled by the letter A, which is this one out in front. So it says if we have a number greater than 1, like 6 or 12, what's that going to make happen? A stretch or compression? A stretch, right? A big number makes it stretch out, okay? So this will make a vertical stretch. Okay, but if it's a number smaller than 1, so something between 0 and 1, like a fraction or a decimal, what does that do? Compress. Good. And then lastly, if we have a negative out in front, what does that do? Reflex. Good. All right, so we just reminded ourselves where all those letters are and what all those letters do. So now we're going to look at this chart where they are describing the transformation here. We're going to write the equation and then say in words what that means is happening. All right, so on number 1, they said D equals 1. Well, where does D go in the equation? At the very end. Look back up there. D is the last letter out there on the end, right? And it says that that is a minus 1. Does it say there's anything else happening in this equation? So I'm just going to put my x squared, and then on the end, what am I going to put? Negative 1. Very good. Okay, what does that minus 1 mean is happening on our graph? It reflects. Remember D, that was the first one we wrote down. We said D does what kind of translations? Vertical. What is vertical, you guys say? Up and down, up and down. Okay, so if it's a minus 1, how is it moving? Goes down. Very good. So I would say that it is moving down 1 unit. Okay. For number 2, it says here that we have where C is going to be minus 3. Okay, so C, where is that at in the equation? Where can we find it? With the x in the parentheses. Very good. So we already know that this means I'm going to have a parentheses with something inside of it. Okay, now we got to pay close attention here. See how it says C equals this number? So it's not in a parenthesis. We look back up here. When it's outside, it was just 0. But when I put it in, it became negative, right? So if it's a negative, on the outside, what is it going to be when I put it in the parentheses? If it's negative right now, what's it going to be when I put it back in the parentheses? Positive. Good. So remember, it's always opposite of what we think inside of the parentheses. And then I just put my square out there on the outside. And it didn't say anything else, so we're good. So what does x plus 3 in the parentheses mean? Which way did we say that means it's moving? Good. So I'm going to say it moves left 3 units. Good. Okay. Number 3 says a equals negative 1. Where does a go in the equation? Front. Good. So I've got a negative in front. Do I have to put the 1, or can I just put the negative? Just a negative, right. And so then I have an x squared. Did it say anything else? Nope. Okay, what does a negative do? What did we say? It reflects it down. Right, good. So reflects across the x-axis. Good. All right, next one. This time they said a is 0.4. Again, where did we say a goes? In the front. So I'm going to put 0.4 in the front. Did it say anything else? So I'm just going to put my x squared. All right. So is 0.4 a big number or a small number? Small. So we said when it's a small number, like a decimal or fraction, that's going to do what to our graph? All right, compress it. Good. So this is compressed by our factor 0.4. Okay, so number 5. This one has 2 things. It says we've got a equals 3, so let's deal with that first. Where does a go? Front. Okay, so I've got a 3. And then it says also that d equals 2. So does d go inside of the parentheses with x? No, so we don't need any parentheses. Where does d go? At the very end. And it says it's 2, so am I going to put plus 2 or minus 2? Plus 2. Very good. All right, so what did the big 3 in front do? So we said here that the small 0.4 compressed it. So what would a big 3 stretch it? Good. So it stretches by 3. And what does that 2 make happen? Where d equals 2? Up. Good. Shifts up 2. Good. All right. Number 6. So this one has 2 things in there as well. Does it have an A? Did it give us anything for A? Okay, so we don't need anything out in front. Did it give us a C? Okay, where does C go? Inside the parentheses. So we know we need a parentheses with an X. It says C equals 4. So in the parentheses, I'm going to put minus 4. Very good. All right, and then did they give us something for D? Negative 5. So at the very end of my equation, I'm going to put negative 5. Okay. What does the minus 4 inside of the parentheses mean? Right. Good. So it shifts right 4. And what does the minus 5 at the end mean? Right. And down 5 units. All right, last one on the chart. Did they give us anything for A? Yeah, what did they say A was? 4. 4. Okay. Did they give me anything for C? 4. So in my parenthesis, I'm going to put X what? Minus 4. Good. And did they give us anything for D? Also 4. So what am I going to put at the very end? Plus 4. Nice. All right, so what does the 4 in front do? Stretch. Good. Okay, what does the 4 in the parentheses do? Right. And what does the 4 at the end do? Up. Good job. All right, flip it over on the back, and we're just going to look at a couple of graphs. All right, so number 8 says that they show the graph for g of x, but we should already know what f of x equals x squared looks like. Remember, that's the parent function that starts at 0, 0 and goes up 1 over 1, right? It makes the normal U shape with no movement, okay? It says describe the steps that turned this into this graph that we see right here, okay? All right, so if I'm describing what we see here, is this one right side up like the original one would have been? This one right here? No. So what does that mean happened if it's upside down? What do we say that means? Reflection. Okay, so it's been reflected. Okay. Is it still starting at 0, 0? No. Okay, did it move left or right any? Moved left how many? 3, okay. So I'll say it moved left 3. Did it move up or down any? Down 2. And then the last thing we check for is stretch or shrink. So remember, it should have a point at 1, 1. Does it have a point exactly at 1, 1 over? It's skinnier, right? So skinnier, does that mean it was a stretch or a compression? Stretch, right? Because it got skinnier. Good. So, and it was stretched. Good. All right. So now I'm looking for which one of these equations shows all the things that we just wrote down. So first of all, if it's reflected, what does it need out in front? A negative. Okay, so which ones can we already cross out? C and D. All right, they both don't have negatives in front. Okay. Then we said that it goes left 3. So in the parentheses, it should have a plus 3. They both have that, right? And then it says it goes down. You guys said down 2. Okay, they both have that. But we also said it's stretched. So what would you need to make a stretch? Huh? So remember, a stretch means it's what kind of a number? A whole number, right. So which one do we know it's going to have to be? B, right, because it has that 2 in front. That's what makes it stretch. Good. Okay. All right, let's look at number 9. This one says, again, to describe the transformation that happens from this function to this function. All right, so what do you see out in front? A negative. What does a negative make happen? We just said it over here. What did the negative make? Not a shift. Reflects. Reflects. Very good. Okay, so we know it reflects, so it has to have a negative out in front. Does it have a number in front? No. So it doesn't stretch or compress, apparently, right? Okay. Does it have anything inside the parentheses? Yeah. So it's x plus 4. Does x plus 4 mean we moved left or right? Left. Very good. So it also went left 4. Does it have anything on the end? No. So that's it. That's all that happens. Okay. So we've got the equation. We've got the changes. It asks where would be our vertex for this new function. All right. So we should start at 0, 0. But you guys said it moved left 4 places. So at 1, 2, 3, 4. Did we say it moved up or down any? No. So this is where my new vertex is, right? So where is that coordinate point at? -4, and 0. Good. Okay, so we did say it's going to flip it upside down, so it's going to look something like this now. The next thing they ask for is the axis of symmetry. That's where I can fold that picture right in half. So that would be like this. So what value am I folding it in half at? What number is that? -4. So I'll say my axis of symmetry is x equals -4. Okay, last two. Okay, so they give us these functions here at the top. They want to know what happened to turn it from f of x, the parent function, into g of x. And they want us to write what that equation would look like. Okay, so this number out front, that's like my a, right? So I keep it as 1/2. Did they say there was anything in the parentheses for that one? Okay, so I don't need any parentheses. I just put my x squared. Did they say we should put something on the end? Yeah. Okay. So remember, just like before, the original starts at 0, 0, right? Did we say this thing moves left or right any? No, no left or right, right? Because there's no parentheses. Did we say it moves up or down any? How much? 2. Goes down 2, right? So now, instead of being at 0, 0, I'm now at 0, what? -2. Okay, and remember, our axis of symmetry is x equals this number. Well, for us, x equals what? 0. Right? Look at your coordinate point. Okay. One more just like it. Does it say that there's any number out in front of the equation? Okay. Does it have anything in a parenthesis? Okay, so we need an x minus 6 squared. Does it have anything at the end? -8. Okay, and again, remember it normally starts at 0, 0, right? Did it say it moved left or right any? 6. 6 to the left or 6 to the right? 6 to the right. Okay, so I'm going to go 6 places this way. Did we move up or down any? Down 8. So now I'm over here at this point, right? Where is that point at? -8 for the y value. And how many over did we move? Not -6, +6. So my new vertex is at 6, -8. All right, so what does that mean our axis of symmetry is? 6.